Let me give you an example. Some of you might be familiar with the literature on hybrid organizations, social enterprises. They have to reconcile conflicting objectives, right? Very cool work, nearly entirely qualitative. I think that's a strength. A lot of attention has been given in the past on organizational solutions. It is not what I'm going to these tensions. There is an emerging area of work that looks at individuals. The role of, in the work of Maria Bescher in particular, looking at the role of pluralist managers, people that somehow can reconcile these tensions between socioeconomic objectives better. More recent work using these lenses of the paradoxical frame, so people who can somehow keep in their mind conflicting information and use it in a more integrated manner. These are based on interviews and retrospective sense-making of how people take decisions, which is fine, but clearly people make sense of themselves in many different ways. And some of these traits could be explained simply by altruism. So people who are altruistic would actually do that kind of naturally in this kind of context. So is it a way of thinking, a mindset, or just a psychological characteristic? So a lab study can help us answer exactly that question. And this is what we try to do in a study that I will summarize really brutally. So basically it's a lab study in which we ask people to give away money. We give them a chunk of money, and they have to decide how much money to keep, how much money to give to a charity of their choice. So real money. So it's a real decision, full incentivization. And the trick here is that we ask the same individual to take decisions in two information processing modes. So they can take decisions on deliberation, so they can think about what they're doing, and I will explain what that means. Or they can take decisions on the basis of some habit that we habituated them into the 3 days before they came to the lab. So it's a within subject design. The same person, so we control for altruism, by the way, so because the level of altruism of that person is stable, taking decisions in two different modes, and we see whether they give more money to charity in which mode. Okay. Question, so how does the information processing time influence socioeconomic results? Okay. It's way narrower, by the way, that the research questions of the studies from the hybrid organization crowd. But this is a lab. It's meant to be super simple and super narrow. So the study, you see here examples, the information about the sampling. Again, I'm skipping just to stay within 10 minutes. Okay, happy to ask questions. It's very simple. So basically, we show people an image with numbers. The numbers are two options. Each option tells you how you split the money between you and the charity, the socioeconomic objective. So you give more for yourself, you give more to the charity. They have to choose an option. This is what we call a description trial. Description because people have to take information on the basis of all the information they have. They have to take a decision on the basis of the whole information they have that describes the situation. And so they see the split. They make a choice, and there is a reinforcement working here. In the experience trial, they see only the image, but not the numbers. They have to associate the image to the numbers that they were experienced in the 3 days before going to the lab. Okay? We check for mistakes, they're quite accurate, so mistakes don't explain the result. And basically they repeat this choice about 100 times, and we see how much money they give to charity relative to self in these two different situations. It turns out, and I'm skipping a lot of stuff here, that we find something like this. So when every time people see a decision situation, they have different types of information, in particular two types of information. They have information about the payoff to business and society, the absolute level, but they also could use the relative level, comparing the two options. Okay? So we basically check out, in a way I can explain later, whether the information which is the most salient is information about business, so the selfish solution, versus information about society, so the social, the non-selfish solution. Turns out that when people take a decision in the deliberation mode, in the description trial, they only focus on the business performance. All the information they factor in to make their choice is related to business, whether absolute or relative. Okay? When instead they are in the experience mode, when they rely on the habit that they got habituated into, then they consider both business and society. Okay? Super simple. After a few months it became super simple. What does it mean? This could be sort of preliminary evidence that the people who give away more, actually, are the people who can experience this paradoxical framing of a decision-making process. Basically, in the sense that they consider conflicting information at the same time. At the same time. That's the important thing. Yeah? Which is, again, in broad terms, what this paradoxical thinking story would imply. Now, clearly the story is overly simplified. But again, given that these results hold true, once you control for the individual level of altruism, this tells you that there is something about this pluralist manager story of paradoxical thinking that is not explained entirely by altruism, which is cool, because the level of altruism is very, very stable. We cannot change it in adults, but we can influence the way they take decisions through organizational design, through development, through compliance systems. Okay? So there is a possible feedback loop here to the literature on hybrid organization that has a very strong organizational design component. And we go there with the reasonable certainty that, again, these results are not explained by the level of altruism that we carry around.